We
to talk
love hip
about the
hop.
um, subscription-based apps and programs and different things like that, and just what we own and what we don't own anymore. Okay, if I can find a CD, give me a second. I might have a CD close to hand. There we go. I got a CD case right here. Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt, classic album. All right. All the songs are all in here. You guys can't see all of the words because it's super small, but all the songs are in here. Brooklyn's Finest, Can I Live To, from Knock Can't Knock the Hustle. The CD that I have of this, it will never change. So if there's some kind of issue with sample clearance on one of these songs that pops up later on in the future, it's not going to get removed off of Spotify, and I'm not going to be able to hear it anymore. Okay? If Jay-Z decides tomorrow to get back on his friggin' title shit, and he's like, yo, I'm going to get back and start Title up again, Title Part 2, and I'm going to remove all my music off of these streaming platforms. Like I started putting them back on streaming platforms after Title was existing. Now, Reasonable Doubt that I have on Spotify is gone. Right? So this has been happening with the music industry now for years that we've been in this whole streaming world. You got to get subscriptions even on top of that, because shit, I realized the other day, without having Spotify Premium on my on my Spotify, because I've always had Spotify Premium, but I decided at one point in time I already got YouTube Premium. If I really want to listen to music, I can go to YouTube Music. But if you want to go through Spotify and try to listen to an album for 2 songs, I won't even say 3 songs in succession, 2 songs in succession. So track 1 to track 2. And first of all, and I'm going to get to a video in a second, but you're not going to get from track 1 to track 2. All right. You're going to go track 1 and it's automatically put into a shuffle, and it might take you to track 8, or it might take you to a song somewhere else from somebody else's catalog that kind of matches the algorithms of what you've been listening to. So you can't even listen to the album song 1 to song 13 without being inundated with ads or being redirected in a whole bunch of different directions. So you're forced to have to go get a subscription. You pay your $12.99, whatever, so that you can rent music. We are where we are. I'm not asking us to go back to CDs and all that. I know I'm an older head and all that. Pause. It was annoying to have a whole CD case in your car, or the CD folder shit in your car, and have to get a 6 CD changer to be able to play a bunch of different albums. And then now you're the shit because I got the 6 CD changer. I can go into the trunk and put my CDs in. That shit is really counterproductive. It's annoying. It's a lot too much physical material. I get it. We're in the digital age, but we don't own shit. Unless I download an album and put it onto my phone, I don't know if that album is subject to change. You feel me? So I'm going to play a quick video here because it's starting to spread beyond just music. Now, Teslas are saying, if you want to have the self-driving feature in your Tesla, you got to pay a subscription. Once upon a time, you didn't have to pay shit, or not, you didn't have to pay shit. You had to pay one package that would cover basically your self-driving on top of the purchase of the Tesla. And from there, you're cooking. Okay, one-time payment. I think it was 8 racks, and Charlie will explain it over here. Big salute to Penguin Zero. One-time payment, 8 racks, whatever. You now have the self-driving feature in your car. Now they've made it where you don't own it anymore. Now you got to pay a subscription indefinitely. the week that you don't pay or the month that you don't pay your subscription, now no self-driving. Now you just have a regular freaking car that runs on electricity that has no self-driving feature. You're just driving a friggin' you're driving a cool looking car. So, and before I get to the video, because as somebody who has to have subscriptions for mad shit, they did the same shit with Adobe Premiere and Photoshop and all of those different Adobe programs. Once upon a time, you used to be able to buy Adobe Premiere full out for something like $500 and something or whatever. You buy it because it's an extensive program. You're going to be able to use it for a long space of time. You used to be able to buy the program. Now you own it. Okay. You might just own the version of whatever it is, but now you own it. You can continuously use that version until you want to get the upgrade. Okay. Not a monthly, you're paying, what is it, $90 a month or whatever the fuck it is to have Adobe Suites so that you can have all of the Adobe programs. 1 second. I don't know why the fuck this just popped up. Right? You can't do that anymore. You can't just own that shit. Now you have to pay that subscription forever. So I've been using Adobe Premiere for probably the last 10 years. So I've probably given them upward of, let me just do a quick calculation. If I'm paying, let's say $90 a month just to have a clean number, $90 a month times 12, that's $1,080 a year times 10 years. I've given these guys at least $10,800 over 10 years. All right. That's just to have a program so that I can edit with. And I cannot purchase it. So let me get to the video right here. Because the shit kind of irked me. I didn't even think that I was going to get on a rant about this, but it kind of irks me because I know it affects me, but a lot of y'all are affected by the things that I'm talking about right here. Nobody's trying to listen to Apple Music or freaking Spotify or whatever without a subscription, fam. You're fucked. If you try to go and watch somebody's Twitch stream without subscribing to the person, and that's cool, all right, you're supporting that creator. But if you don't, oh my God, if you don't, Twitch is going to hit you with ad blocks that are about 7 to 12 ads long amount with 30 seconds ads each. So you're going to sit there and watch 12 ads before you get back to the freaking academic stream. I hate that thing, dog. Let me play this video.
Elon Musk has greased up his hog and he is serving it to you whether you like it or not. I hope you're ready to gobble it down. Elon Musk is saying that Tesla full self-driving will switch to a monthly subscription and remove the one-time purchase option. Another beautiful entry into the you will own nothing and be happy future that we find ourselves in. We're now entering a new
you will own nothing and be happy. Shut the fuck up and get your subscription to 100 different things that you need to subscribe to and be happy. Netflix. If you're watching Netflix today and you're enjoying your favorite friggin' sitcom on Netflix and then so friggin' Warner Brothers Plus pops up tomorrow and says, you know what, we're taking that series and we're putting it up on our subscription platform, then guess what? You're going to have to subscribe to that one too. All right? You don't own shit. You just subscribe to shit.
Stinkier era where you can't even pay for the full automobile anymore. You don't pay to own it. Now, in order to get one of the most crucial components, like selling points of a Tesla vehicle, you will have to fork over $99 per month as part of the subscription plan, suckling on the subscription-based titty for however long you want access to the full self-driving features, which was a huge reason a lot of people were buying these fucking things in the first place. Previously, there was an option to pay $8,000 and you get the whole kit and caboodle. You get the Tesla and you get the full self-driving features. But now Elon said, nope, I'm taking the toys back. We are going to wean you off of this. Now, you can't even own the entire motherfucker. Now you buy the vehicle and then have to subscribe separately for the full self-driving features. It's insanity. So you can't even pay to own your whole vehicle. Now you can pay to get most of the vehicle, then you will need to start subscribing for the rest. You don't even get full access. It is just another step in this awful fucking direction in this subscription-based economy where every single thing, every single aspect of your life is becoming subscription-based. We are entering the future where you don't actually own anything. What you own is the idea of things, like your video.
Oh, yo, when I watched this video the other day, because I watch a lot of Charlie's videos, yo, you know what? Did I put a like on there? I did. All right. I watch a lot of his videos. When he said this, say it again, bro.
What you own is the idea of things. Like
what you own is the idea of things. You don't own any property, bro. You don't own. Let me make my screen bigger. You don't own the Reasonable Doubt CD anymore. Unless you came from that time when they were still selling these CDs, you don't own one of these, bro. I have the Get Rich or Die Trying album, the CD. All right. And I'm talking, this is before we even get to tapes and shit like that. Like, you don't own any of this content. You own the idea of it.
Like your video games, they're basically just renting it. You're getting a permission slip from the benevolent developers to grant you access to the game for however long. In Tesla's case, Elon Musk is drip feeding you features as long as you subscribe. But when you have a Tesla now, you only get half of it unless you are subscribing for the other half. And there's no option to just own the whole thing outright anymore. He has wiped that shit out. And I feel like every person on the planet should have an issue with this kind of model here from Tesla. But because it's Elon Musk and people can't help but swallow his meat, it's an addiction more severe than Fent. They are defending it as if he's doing them a favor somehow. People are willingly bending over and applauding as these billionaires butt fuck them to death. Like, as they get less and less ownership of things, they get happier and happier because the billionaires are telling them they should be. Unreal. Farting in your face and telling you that it smells like roses, and they're like, yes.
Yo, Charlie's pissed.
It actually does. This is amazing. It's just infuriating for full stop. It's craziness to me. Now, anyway, I don't want to harp on that too much, because instead, when I went to Elon Musk's Twitter account to see if he went any deeper on the Tesla subscription model now for full self-driving services, I saw this little annoying nugget here from the brain of a supposed free speech advocate. Teaching people to hate America fundamentally destroys patriotism and the desire to defend our country. Such teachings should be viewed as treason, and those who do it imprisoned. Wow. And he's referencing how high schoolers were polled saying that many of them were taught that America was built on stolen land. And he is weighing in saying that that kind of teaching should be treasonous and the perpetrators thrown in jail. Very interesting take from the free speech guy who's probably fresh out of the K-hole. Elon.
America was built on stolen land.
What the fuck, man? In what way does that even remotely fit into your narrative of being all for free speech no matter what? Let's just set everything else aside. We're just going to play ball here. Let's assume very bad teachers.
Okay, so he goes on a whole rant about Elon because whatever. I'm not a big fan either, but he hates Elon. Okay. But I do have another video to play y'all quickly, and then we're going to end this live about this, what I was talking about, the subscription-based stuff, because I just pulled out my tapes. I got a case full of tapes. I just want to pull those out just now. But Matty Balls, salute to Matty Balls, pause. Says he made a video, says you're listening to AI music and you don't even own it. That's not the one I'm looking for. Let me go to Matty Ball's channel.
Lately, there has been panic across the music industry.
Because he made a video talking about this whole phenomenon of not being able to even own the music that you're playing with. Streaming service was one. It's worse than you think. Here it is. Okay, so this is from 2 weeks ago. Streaming services one is worse than you think. You don't own shit, is what he has on the thumbnail.
Streaming services and the subscription model that accompanies them have quietly been taking over our lives. From the music we listen to the TV we watch, to the games we play, and even to the cars we drive. I don't think I need to go into detail for you guys to think about how all of these little subscription fees we are paying for this, that, and the third is slowly adding up over time to a number that isn't so small. I think we can all agree that both streaming services and subscription services have gotten a little bit out of hand. But this is a new problem. Especially before the digital age, this wasn't really an issue. When you bought something, you owned it. You weren't renting everything out to the point where if you missed a payment 1 month, it no longer belonged to you. So how did we get here? To the point where a lot of what we consume, especially entertainment, we don't actually own. How did streaming services become so dominant? And how did we let the subscription model become the primary payment model for many things? Well, first, I think it's a little important to understand a lot of the problems that come with streaming services. There's probably no area where streaming has become more dominant than in music. It's estimated that 289 million Americans use music streaming services, or about 85% of the US population. And of course, among younger Americans, the numbers are much higher. In a lot of ways, I think this has been a good thing. Music is more accessible now than ever before, and you have every single song pretty much ever made at your fingertips wherever you go. And for the most part, it's free. If you don't want ads though, it'll only be about $10 a month. If you compare that to like the 60s, where a single record costs about $3, a record player might be like $45 and speakers would be around $50, it's a pretty big difference. And it may sound affordable, but adjusted for inflation, a single album whose songs you weren't even guaranteed to enjoy, every single one, would cost about $35. And the equipment needed to enjoy it would be much more. So yeah, it's definitely cheaper to pay $10 a month than it is to buy a $35 record for every album you like. As a result, the average American today spends more than 20 hours a week listening to music, which is more than ever before. In the 60s, by contrast, the average American bought fewer than 2 new records a year. So the positives of music being affordable and accessible are very clear. But there are a lot of people who think it's also gone a bit too far. It may be easier than ever before to listen to music, but in some ways it's also becoming harder to make a living from it. Music streaming services are so cheap because the payouts to artists are so small. Once the music labels have their cut taken out, Spotify, for example, only pays artists around 1/10 of a cent per stream. With
1/10 of a cent per stream is crazy.
physical record sales, however, on a major label, the artist will often make as much as 30% of the sale. So if I were to buy a copy of Clips's recent album Let God Sort 'Em Out on vinyl for $25, the band would probably make about $7. For them to make that same amount of money on streaming, or Spotify in particular, I would have to listen to their song about 7,000 times, or the equivalent of...
Damn. Let me show y'all something quickly. I own this. Redman, There's a Dark Side. Redman's second album. All right. I own this. It's never going to change. Every song, if anything changed on this playlist that you might see up on Spotify, I have the original version. The tape. I own this. This is not happening ever again.
Listening to their songs 24/7 for about 2 weeks. Of course, I don't have access to the recording contract, so I couldn't tell you the exact numbers, but that's roughly how it works. In the past, plenty of musicians have entirely withdrawn their music from streaming services in protest of these pay rates. Taylor Swift boycotted in 2014, while the Beatles were entirely absent from streaming services for almost a decade. But obviously, most artists who leave always end up returning because music streaming services are so dominant. If you don't put your music up on Spotify and Apple Music and all that, you're pretty much killing your career. The dominance has completely changed the economics of the music industry. Before streaming, musicians made the vast majority of their money from record sales. That meant musicians like the Beatles could go without touring for years at a time solely to focus on making their music. It also meant if you had a few classic albums or songs that people were always going to be listening to, you were pretty much set for life. But nowadays, that's not quite the case. Most artists nowadays are making the majority of their money from tours, which is one of the main reasons concert tickets seem to be so expensive these days. Artists are also...
And the music is so trash. They got to flood the freaking the timeline. They got to flood the streaming services. They'll make albums that are like 40 songs long with a bunch of mid on the shit because they got to play the freaking money game. They got to play the quantity game over the quality game.
increasingly relying on merchandise, advertising, and other ways of cashing in on their fame, which is probably why it feels like every single musician is trying to sell you something. From regular things like clothing and merch to weird stuff like Rick Ross branded ceramic car spray, or in Drake's case, extremely sketchy gambling websites. But the streaming industry hasn't only hurt artists' pockets. Many people believe that it's actually hurt the quality of the music as well. You've probably noticed that since like the mid 2010s, the music topping the charts has been a little bit more boring. Imagine Dragons, Maroon 5, Ed Sheeran. Commercially, these artists were equivalent of the Beatles, Eminem, or Queen in their respective eras, but their music is obviously not quite as good. Except maybe Maroon 5, I don't know, man, they had some bangers. I've talked about this extensively in recent videos, so I won't go too far into detail, but just know that the systems that streaming services have in place encourage music that just simply isn't quite as good. Most artists and their record labels in particular are aware of this system, so musicians are incentivized to create music that won't be too complicated or overwhelming on the first listen. What streaming platforms
Classic Aquemini. Go learn you something.
Are encouraging are bland, unoriginal songs that can blend into a background playlist in a way that makes you want to leave it on.
The other way that bands and music fans lost is that because streaming is more or less free, you have access to everything. There's just but significantly less focus on actually listening to and loving music. If you can listen to anything you want all the time for free, if something is uninteresting.
I had somebody ask me if I had the purple tape. Salute to Raekwon the Chef. All right. Salute to Two Piece No Biscuit. I had like 3 freaking copies of that album, and I keep on losing them, yo. I know I have one Raekwon album somewhere in my stash somewhere. It's not in this box here. Listen, I got bare tapes in this box. I don't want the tapes to fall over. All right, but I got bare tapes in this box. Okay. I knew one day that I would need to use this for a segment. These are not all my tapes, but these are tapes that I own. This is not my CD collection. I got to go in the basement to go get my CD collection. But my CD collection is insane because I was collecting the music. All right. I wasn't even thinking about it, later on, this is going to be worth mad money and all that type of shit. Nah, bro. I was just like, I love music. I'm going to have a collection of music. You can, old apartments that I would have like the shelves with the CDs or the shelves. And that was a stunt. Like, damn, look at your collection. That's crazy. Right? Look at this. Low End Theory. Tribe Called Quest, second album. Bong. I do have a Mobilarity. I don't have the purple tape, but I have a Mobilarity. It wasn't his best work, but I bought it anyway. Right? Collector, fam. Nobody's collecting shit, fam. Nobody's collecting shit, bro. We get to stream it. Oh, I downloaded it on Spotify. Oh, the tape is gone. Yo, where's my Iron Man tape, fam? Ooh, y'all don't know about the Iron Man album. Where's the tape, fam? Somebody stole my Iron Man tape. I'll show you all one more and we'll get back to the video. Because I'm just having like hella nostalgia. Oh, I showed y'all the Red Man album. Oh, look at this. Tapes are still going on this time. But we were already getting into Napster times. The Nostradamus album on tape. There's a song on this that got removed off of the copy that finally came out. And it was already on, like, I don't even think I have it on this copy, but there was a copy on Napster that was floating around. Because Napster came in like, let's say 2000 and maybe 2001. And it just started fucking up the industry, bro. I'll show y'all one more tape and then we'll move on. Wu-Tang Forever. This is tape 1. It was a 2-tape set. Okay, it came in a case, like a special case that you can get 2 tapes into 1 case. Oh, yeah. Program 1. Yeah. Try and fizz on this, scissor. Classic material. Right? Bear share. Like, this is when things started to go downhill.
to you after 3 seconds. You
But it's racist.
don't give it any attention. Music, interesting, in-depth, curious, challenging music takes time to focus on. Music has definitely not gotten better, and I'm saying this as a music fan since I was a child, since streaming happened. Streaming doesn't make music better. Streaming makes music it makes music have to be a commercial in order for it to potentially grab somebody's attention.
It's also hard not to think that Spotify is devaluing music with some of the statements that their CEO, Daniel Ek, has made. He's claimed that the cost of creating music now is close to zero, and he also said it's not enough for musicians to release albums only every 4 or 5 years. He's also blamed labels when Spotify themselves are one of the lowest paying streaming services.
Many people still think Spotify doesn't pay the artists. Who should they direct their inquiries to, if not to you at Spotify?
Yeah, well, technically it is true that we don't pay artists directly. So what we do is we pay all the rights holders. We pay the record labels,
yes.
record labels, but also the music publishers.
And I think there's one other major problem when it comes to music streaming.
I don't have Mobb Deep in my tape collection over here. I thought I had the Hell on Earth tape. My bad. We reminiscing over here. I thought I had it in my tape collection. But as far as in my CD collection, I have every single Mobb Deep album until they stop making CDs. All right. I don't have the Juvenile Hell album. All right. Don't let me not get it twisted. So not every album, but from Hell on Earth, or not Hell on Earth, from the Mobb Deep first album, The Infamous, all the way on to, was it Blood Money? That was the last album. The one, the two that they did on G Unit, right? The one with a dun, all on CD. That's never going to change. I don't care what streaming platform I have, what subscription I don't have. I don't have anywhere to play it because I don't have any CD players, but shit, at least I got it.
Services in particular. And it's the fact that you don't actually own any of the music. For example, if Spotify wanted to change the music, they could. Let's say you really enjoyed the original mix of The Life of Pablo by Kanye. Well, that's unfortunate because it's no longer available on a single streaming platform. Even worse, in my opinion, Spotify or other services could just remove the music if they don't want it on there. For example, in 2017, Spotify removed all of XXXTentacion's music from their playlist and recommendation features because it supposedly violated their guidelines on hateful content. It was only after Kendrick Lamar threatened to remove his entire catalog that this policy was abandoned. Although even then, other controversial artists like Tay-K, for example, remained in the same situation. And
when Kanye did that shit, he kind of gaslit us, or he kind of like tried to convince us like, nah, man, this is where art is going. I'm going to be able, it's an evolving album, an evolving piece of art. So today you might hear it sound like this, but tomorrow I might have an idea and I change it. Like, fuck out of here, bro. Nah, bro. What's the finished product? Let me hear that and don't change it. All right. I don't want to hear an extra rapper when I go back to stream the song that I was streaming for the last 6 months that didn't have that rapper on it. Okay. I don't want to hear Playboy Cardi pop up on this Kanye song that only had Kanye on it, because you could update the freaking upload without losing the number on the streams. That's a super idiot thing, dog. I don't care how innovative that sounds. I think that's garbage, bro. You should not be able to change or alter the music. If you have a sample clearance problem, it is what it is. You got to go figure it out with your lawyer. But as far as the song itself, I don't want to hear any changes to it 6 months later because you had some inspiration or you had demoitis and you heard it and you're like, nah, I can fix this. Nah, leave it alone. I like it that way. Like, we're gone too far now, bro.
I'm sure there's more examples of Spotify just straight up taking music off of the platform. But I think the most egregious example I can think of is their release of the car thing. If you bought the $90 Spotify car thing, you would get a small touchscreen tablet designed.
It's enough long and relevant convo. This is all relevant to the convo. But I will answer your question. Do you think we need a Project Bounce reboot? A Project Bounce reboot would be great, but we're not even living in the times where we would value Project Bounce like we used to once upon a time. those are the times when people were music lovers. We were listening to Project Bounce because we were here to hear the new song. You know, we were here to hear our Canadian rappers or Toronto rappers especially mixed in with Mobb Deep or mixed in with the Locks or whoever that we're listening to from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. gully shit. Now, there's so much trash. There's so much more options that people will be like, that's that old head shit. I ain't listening to the radio. If you put it on a website, we would have to find some way, whether it's like it's endorsed by Steak or Happy Dad or whatever, to make people even want to go to that website in the first place. Like, that time is past, bro. People think differently. Like, they don't value even the music that's going up on these streaming platforms. So what will make them value it if it's all in a hub like a Project Bounce? You feel me? That time is done, bro. Everything is just freaking McDonald's now, bro.
To be plugged into your car's
Most
dashboard,
things.
allowing you to control Spotify and play music in your car. Which, of course, if you didn't have one of those built-in things on your car, I don't know, I have an old car, but if you didn't have that built in, this would be very helpful. The car thing, though, was a huge flop, losing the company $31 million. So, less than 3 years after being officially released, the car thing's functionality and software support was ended completely, rendering it useless. This still blows my mind to this day, but Spotify somehow had the power and got away with completely bricking and disabling something that many people had bought for $90. Imagine you bought something for $90, have subscriptions to a variety of services, which is honestly... So if you like a variety of shows and movies, there's a good chance you will need to have subscriptions to a variety of services, which is honestly at the point where you're going to end up paying more than you would have for cable. You got Netflix, Hulu, Paramount, Disney Plus, Max, Crunchyroll. There are so many streaming services that are each slowly siphoning your money. I'm sure all of us have had some sort of experience where...
Hold on, let me put this back on the screen. What you got? I got YouTube. I don't pay for the Netflix here. And you get Prime Video when you apply for that Prime Plus, right? Or Amazon Prime Plus, so that you can get your packages for like less money. So I guess I have Prime. Let me know in the comments, because this is a lot, fam. There's some people with Apple TV, Netflix, Hulu. I'm just thinking of just like what the regular person who's like in the know of different things that are out there in the pop culture world. Like, did you see that show on Hulu? Did you see that show on HBO Max? Did you know, Apple TV got a whole bunch of different things going on. That Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reboot is over here on Prime. You know, Netflix is already the GOATs. And then your YouTube TV. Or your YouTube Premium. Let's not even take YouTube TV. YouTube Premium. Bruh. Juicy Hamburger says, how much for all that? Let's not even think about that. How much for like 5 of those, fam? All of that, like, you got to be a psycho. Mind you, there's some people who are this psycho and have all of this. Disney Plus, all of that. Paramount Plus, all of that shit. Right? I need all of it. Everything. Yo, ESPN, I need all of it. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 18 different subscriptions right here. At, let's say, $12.99 each. Okay. Let's say, I don't know, man, because I'm not a big subscription person. Actually, no, it's more than that. I know my YouTube premium is like $16.99. So let's say, just to be safe, $20 each per month. And you got 5 of these. So you're already spending like $100, give or take a few dollars less per month, just to have 5 of these different subscriptions, fam. And you still don't own shit. That's a super idiot thing, bro.
Crunchyroll. There are so many streaming services that are each slowly siphoning your money. I'm sure all of us have had some sort of experience where a new show comes out, you're excited to watch it, you Google where to watch it, and it's on this brand new streaming service you've never heard of, or it's on the one that you don't have.
All right, my bad. What did I say here? CAD. $200. Wait, I said 5 of them at $20 each. Sorry, $20 at each. At yeah, $20 each. 5 of them. Yeah, bro, you're spending a lot of fucking bread, bro.
Which is extremely frustrating. Apart from this making things expensive, it also gets rid of the security of ownership. If I bought Netflix a few years ago to watch The Office, that sucks because now it's on a different service. Even worse than that, if there's a show or movie you like, it can just be taken off of the streaming services and you will have no other way of watching it. For example, over the course...
Fam, think $1,200 a year just to watch TV. And that's just for 5 subscriptions. There's people who have like 10 of them, fam. So $2,400 a year to watch TV.
This next year, Netflix is getting rid of over 100 of their original series, which means you will either have to get a new subscription to watch them, or maybe they're just getting rid of them. I'm not even sure. Another example, and unfortunately this is the only one I can think of, but recently I just watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and I learned that there's a couple episodes that they don't have on streaming, but because I watch them on a different thing, I could watch them. But yeah, they banned these from streaming and there's really no way to watch them unless you want to pirate it. Another problem that comes up with TV streaming services is very similar to the music ones, and it's that they are actually making TV worse. As I mentioned earlier, Spotify and other streaming services prioritize inoffensive, bland songs that have a lower chance of being skipped in a playlist. And they also like songs that people can comfortably listen to in the background, which, unbeknownst to me, these streaming services are attempting a similar thing. In a very similar sense, TV streaming services are expecting you not to fully be paying attention to the shows that you're watching, instead expecting you to be on your phone and maybe only half watching.
She'd heard from so many showrunners who are given notes by the streaming channels that they say, this isn't second screen enough. The viewer is expected to be on their phone kind of half.
It isn't second screen enough. It's taking too much of my attention. Turn it down. It's too loud. I'm trying to look on my phone. I'm trying to make this play on this girl to see if we can, you know, have it to sex us. And that movie is just too animated. It's just too good. It's taking too much of my attention. Make it more lo-fi. Wow. It kind of makes you wonder why all of them Netflix, the audio, so for such high production, high level production, the audios be so damn trash. You're like raising the volume every time somebody got to talk. And then after, like, some music starts playing and then it's super loud. And then people start talking and it's like, I wonder why. Because it's supposed to be in the fucking background. Thanks for the super sticker. Anybody, anything but the norm. All right? It's supposed to be in the background. You're not supposed to be paying too much attention to the TV. Just leave it running and pay for your subscription. Don't worry. We got it set up so it automatically just comes off your credit card. Don't even worry about it. All right? We got you already. Got him.
Off doing something else while your crime drama or whatever is playing, and you just can't make it as complicated as you have because they're not going to understand it because they're only going to be half concentrating on your show.
This is funny to me because it's a pet peeve of mine when I'm watching a show with someone and they're on their phone because, like, I don't know, I'm so locked in on it. But I guess a lot of people do this, and this may explain why a lot of shows, especially shows that might be Netflix originals or shows produced by the streaming provider, might be a bit lackluster. They're also stretching out the releases of shows so that your subscription has to renew rather than posting it all at once like they may have before. And
got him. Right? New season on the way next month.
Probably the worst offense that these streaming services have committed is raise the prices a bunch. After COVID, a lot more people were home and watching TV, so not only did the streaming services crack down on password sharing, but they also realized they could raise prices and there wasn't much people could do about it. Disney Plus was launched at $6.99 per month with no ads, and now its ad-free version is $18.99. Hulu launched at $8 with ads, and now its new tier with ads is $11.99. Not to mention their super expensive live TV tier. Netflix launched at $7.99, and now its most premium option is $24.49 a month.
Wow.
Apple TV launched at only $4.
The premium Netflix is $24 a month. They got us, bro.
$99 a month, which is surprising, and now it is $12.99. And most of the other services follow a similar trend. I don't think I need to go into much detail about this. I'm sure most of you are familiar, or at least somewhat aware of how frustrating these services can be. And believe it or not, it's not just music and TV where streaming and subscription services are making our lives more difficult. Now, streaming is one thing, but this model of digital products switching to subscription services has
this is giving me anxiety, fam.
Gotten kind of bad, to put it simply. On average, Americans are spending $273 a month on subscription services.
Wow. Give me a second. 273 times 12, $3,276 a year on TV. Call it 3,300. All right, on television, fam. This is not your music subscriptions, bro. This is just TV. Or it could be the music too, but damn. Just to listen to music. Okay, let's include music too. To listen to music and watch TV, you're spending $273 a month.
Of course, a large chunk of those costs.
This is the average. This is not the people who got more money, the people who are trying to ball or keep up with the Joneses. This is just the average American.
Costs are coming from TV and music streaming services, but there are many other areas of our lives that the digital subscription service model is creeping in. Subscription services have actually been around for a long time. You actually used to be able to sort of subscribe to the milkman and he'd drop off milk at your house, and once you stopped paying him, he would just take you off his road. I didn't have money like that back then, unfortunately. So nowadays, to access Adobe software, you can no longer buy it outright, even though...
Okay, when I saw this part, my blood started boiling. Holy shit, man.
Photoshop for thumbnails. And back in the day, you could have bought both of these programs for around $500 total.
See, when I was saying earlier, you could buy Adobe Premiere for $500, right? Because I also use Adobe Photoshop to make the thumbnails for these videos. $500 is what I thought was for one. No, $500, you can get Adobe Premiere and Photoshop outright. It's yours. Oh my God. They're fucking us in so many different ways, bro. They're just oh man, we're so cooked, bro.
I didn't have money like that back then, unfortunately. So nowadays, to access Adobe software, you can no longer buy it outright. Even though it's totally possible for you to keep the software once you buy it, Adobe decided to switch to a subscription service that cost me about $50 a month to own their programs. After just 10 months at this price, I will have effectively bought the programs outright, but I can't, so instead I've been paying $50 a month for years, which over the lifespan of my channel would be like $3,000. Adobe in particular is actually so slimy and greedy.
You're only paying 50? I'm paying 90, bro. $78.99 American.
That they got sued by the FTC, but that's a whole nother story. Subscriptions are getting so crazy to the point where you got to pay $100 a month to get autopilot in a Tesla, an option they have.
No. He's paying 50. I'm paying 90. I need to holler at Matty Balls and find out where his link is. Where did you get that photo? He might be getting it cheaper on a student program, because if you have a student ID, or if you know somebody with a student ID, you can get it for a reduced price. Okay, so that's one thing that they have in there, an incentive for anybody who's a student trying to get into the production industry and stuff like that. But I'm paying $78.99 American USD. So it can fluctuate to $90. However, Mark Carney is fucking around with our dollar. Whatever he's doing with our dollar is what I gotta pay per month. Trust me, fam. It's not an easy game.
Available if you don't want to buy it outright. And a lot of these subscription services make it very difficult to cancel, to the point where the FTC proposed a rule revision called click to cancel, with the whole goal being to make it easier to cancel subscription services. The lobbyists for these companies said that this rule would cost businesses $2.7 billion, which is crazy to think about the fact that they basically admitted to making $2.7 billion off of people who aren't able to cancel their subscriptions but likely aren't using them. And it makes...
Wow. The FTC or whatever. They had to the government had to step in and be like, yo, you guys need to fix this right here, because you're making it where like it's impossible, or people don't even know that, you know, their subscription is getting renewed. Find some kind of easier way for the customer to be able to opt out of this. Maybe some kind of notification that your subscription is going to be up in the next few days, because prior to that, they ain't going to let you know shit. They're just going to let the shit run and then take it off your credit card. The government had to step in and be like, yo, y'all need to fix that, because you made $2.7 billion off of people who just didn't even think to cancel their subscription, and you guys just renewed the shit. That is nasty work.
Makes sense. When I tried to cancel one Adobe subscription, I found out that they signed me up for an annual plan billed monthly, so they charged me for like $300 for the rest of the year. And in a rare moment, I was so upset that I called and got it refunded, and I think they refunded it because the FTC thing was going on. Regardless, though, it's very ridiculous. I've actually had a similar concern with Xbox Game Pass as well. As consoles are releasing without disc drives and video games are going fully digital, it almost feels like gaming could be moving in a similar direction as streaming services. The Xbox Game Pass is another subscription service with different tiers ranging from $10 to $30 a month. It's a similar situation where if you game a lot, sure, it makes sense to get it, especially if you're playing a wide variety of games. But for most people, it'll probably just end up costing them more in the long run than if they just bought the games outright. Now, I don't think this is a big problem now, and I'm sure gamers won't ever let it get as bad as TV streaming services. But just imagine a world where Nintendo, PlayStation, Steam, and Xbox all started buying up exclusive titles and putting them on their own passes with no disc.
That's coming just now, bro. Don't live in a pipe dream, fam. That is on the way.
Drives and no options to buy games outright, this could very well be the direction in which games go. I don't know if that's possible, but I mean, that could be a thing. I don't know. It's always worried me. But these are just a few random areas I can see these streaming services and subscription services creeping into our lives in possibly uncomfortable ways, which has left a lot of consumers doing something kind of strange and something pretty predictable. Because of the modern age streaming and subscription services, we are left with a few problems. You no longer own half of what you buy. The fracturing of streaming has you spending just as much, if not more, than cable, and it's actually lowering the quality of content, whether it be music or television. And this has left people returning to one of two
sad times.
Things. The first of which is the major return of physical media. All over my YouTube page, I've seen tons of people switching back to physical media, which is pretty cool. All of these problems are why more and more music fans are abandoning streaming services entirely and going back to CDs and vinyl. From 20
So mans are freaking blowing off the dust off their CD players and freaking going into their garages and shit and going and find their record players. Like, walk on, bro.
10 to 2023 alone, the size of the vinyl market has increased by 18 times. And of course, it's not the only non-streaming option. Physical media is definitely more expensive and less convenient than music streaming, but with physical media, you do actually own the music. Instead of letting the faceless Spotify algorithm progressively feed you blander and blander songs, with no guarantee they were even made by real artists, you have complete control over what you listen to. I can also say that having a physical copy of your favorite album definitely brings you a lot closer to the music. The same can be said for DVDs or video games.
You'll also, too, with this AI part, you don't even know what parts of the album that you downloaded on your the Spotify app, how many of the songs on that are AI produced. Kanye himself has songs that are AI made now. So we're just streaming that garbage if you choose to.
And one of my favorite parts of physical media is when you buy a CD or a record and they have like a cool poster or sticker or something inside. It's always a fun little surprise. On top of this, people are switching to MP3 players, opting for digital cameras instead of iPhone cameras, and overall trying to dumb everything down to how it used to be.
As I'm editing this, I'm realizing I don't know if I made my point like clear enough about why physical media is important, but I think this sums it up. In 20 years from now, I might want to play Modern Warfare 2, but who's to say in 20 years that Modern Warfare 2 won't be on the Xbox Game Pass and that I might not have the new Xbox, but I can still go back and play on my old Xbox with my old disc. The same could be said about this record. Who's to say that this will be available on streaming services in 20 years? And you can make that same argument for TV or anything else. There's no way to really know that my favorite show or movie will be on streaming services, and if it is, who's to say in 20 years I will have that exact streaming service, or it won't be $50 a month, or you know what I'm saying. If you actually
it's giving me anxiety.
you really enjoy something and you don't own it, you run the risk of not having access to that in the future. And if you do want to access it, you may have to pay for it again. You may have to pay for the subscription. You may forget to cancel the subscription, or it may be very difficult to cancel the subscription. There's a lot of problems that come with this.
The problem with this, though.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Salute to Matty Balls. He always makes great videos. I didn't even throw a like on this right here. Bong. I'm going to throw a like on that right there. He deserves that. All right, big salute to Matty Balls on this video right there, man. Oh, I don't know how many of y'all have seen that video, but hopefully for the people who haven't seen that video, it has put the world in perspective a little bit more. Okay, the different things that we're just using our passive income, or not even our passive income, because some of these things are quote unquote necessities just for our mental health. Like, yo, I need something to some kind of entertainment. Like, fam, can I get one subscription on something per month to be able to entertain myself? You gotta pay, bro. You can't just get cable anymore and just have access to all of these channels. Like, you gotta get the cable package, and that used to be freaking inconvenient. So now they replaced it with all of these different subscription services and made it more inconvenient than having just the cable with a bunch of packages. So I don't even know what to tell you guys, bro. We're fucked. There's no way to put the toothpaste back in the tube. So there are solutions of going analog, but that means now they're going to have to start redistributing all of the different analog players like CD players and DVD players and all that type of stuff for us to be able to consume the content that we have on analog that's not digital, right? So we're going to have to get one problem to fix another problem. And then they're still going to be getting the money in the end of the day because they're selling us all the shit. So it is what it is. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out these other videos on the screen and make sure to like and subscribe.
We love hip hop.